It's fairly common knowledge at this point that it's rather easy to escape Vault 101 in Fallout 3 as a baby during the tutorial, and then from there you can play the rest of the game as a small terror of the wastes. That's all well and good for Fallout 3, I even have a video where I did it myself. But what about Fallout New Vegas? Is it possible in it too? Well, that's what I aim to find out, as today we figure out, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as a baby? Let's get the obvious part out of the way now. You don't start New Vegas as a baby, so technically no, you can't beat the game as a baby. But what most of you probably know is that when you're playing as a baby in Fallout 3, you're actually just a scaled down version of your older character. So, with that in mind, as soon as I'm able to move, I open the console and use the player.setScale command and set my size to 0.5, or half the size you would normally be. I then immediately changed it to 0.4 as I felt that half size was a little too big for my liking. A few things to note: when you change your character's size, it alters a few other properties as well, the two biggest ones being the speed in which your character moves and melee damage. At least I think it's just melee damage, I'm not sure if other damage types are affected as well. Despite me just saying that melee is probably a lot weaker now, I still build my character around those stats. I guess at this point it's just more of a force of habit for me. I then get absorbed into Doc Mitchell's couch and set repair, melee weapons and medicine as my tag skills. Finally, I take skilled and heavy-handed for my traits. As usual, I do the bottle shooting with Sunny to get the Ghost Town gunfight quest. Also, I may actually be a lot smaller than I was in the Fallout 3 video. I started thinking this when I was outside standing next to Cheyenne here, and it occurred to me that I'm currently small enough to ride her into battle. Continuing on, I go into the saloon and immediately start hacking away at Joe Cobb with my machete. I do so little damage, despite the fact I have max strength, the heavy-handed trait, and melee weapons tagged, that I immediately decide that once I leave Goodsprings and get the option to edit my character, that I'm going to get some points in the guns, as I don't see myself getting very far with just melee weapons this time. One good thing I will say about being this small is that ranged enemies tend to miss a lot of their shots as you're such a small target. Now that Cobb is out of the picture, I head over to chat to see about getting some ammo and healing items, when I decide that I don't really want to deal with the fact that I can't see my Pip-Boy while being this size, so I instead enable the mod for the handheld Pip-Boy version, as at least this way I can navigate my menus. Pretty sure this is the first time I have ever used a mod in a video. If I use any more in the future, they'll probably just be cosmetic ones. I then get some supplies from Chet, meet Ringo, and then begin recruiting people to defend the town. You have no idea how tedious this quest becomes when you're moving at half speed running around trying to get all the help. It's essentially like being over encumbered, except there's nothing you can do to fix it. To really hammer home how slow I am, when I go to run down to defend the town from the gas station, the fight is basically over by the time I get there. With the town safe, I left Goodsprings, and as mentioned before, I rebuilt my character with a slightly better focus on guns. You can see my stats on screen right now, as I don't want to take up any more time talking about character creation. Trying to edit how you look while being this size also grants you this piece of nightmare fuel. I put my newfound understanding of guns to the test by shooting the nearby powder gangers. Granted, they don't have much health to begin with, but this is still a lot better than using the machete. Just in case it wasn't obvious, I'm taking the long way to this strip because I'm not great at outrunning danger at the best of times, let alone the fact I now run about as fast as a slug. By the time I arrive in Primm, the sun is beginning to set, so I sneak my way over to the sheriff's house for the free cowboy repeater as well as some ammo. I don't use it just yet and instead use my 9mm pistol and throwing spears to take out the convicts around the town. I then buy a bunch of ammo off Johnson Nash before going to rescue the deputy. The good thing about using the 9mm is it's the pistol that most of the early game enemies will use, so I will at least have plenty of ammo to go around for now. I don't take any chances while trying to fight the convict leader, so I just use my grenade rifle to injure him, which actually caused him to drop his incinerator. As he came over to punch me, I then just switched over to the machete and finished him off in VATS. I also took the incinerator for once with the intent on actually using it rather than selling it for drug money. From there I clear up the last of the convicts with little issue and easily save Beagle. And then from there I continue on my adventures. Baby steps after all. I clear out the jackals at the patrol station with ease thanks to the single shotgun I picked up a while back, as well as somehow using the sheer force of my body to kill these mantises. Sure as hell there's no way I'm stepping on them at this height. No, the real terrifying part is when I go outside. I'm not talking about the jackal leader attacking me, I am of course referring to the rapidly approaching parasite intent on destroying my eardrums. Luckily, he isn't immune to the magical power of bullets, and a few shots to the head is enough to put him in the grave. The gang leader goes down afterwards with a few swings from my sword, and as an added bonus, I get some more ammo for my cowboy repeater. Rat scorpions are not pleasant when you are the size of a peanut. Granted, they aren't as disturbing as Skyrim's frostbite spiders, but from this angle, they certainly come close. Just like spiders, however, the best way to deal with them is by killing them with fire, so I put the incinerator from earlier to good use. It's a few thousand steps from here to the Mojave outpost, so I'm off to get aid for Primm by helping Ranger Jackson with his problem. I also start making my way to Nipton and begin to realise that stealth is probably the way to go from here on out if I can help it. I'm so small that I can hide behind just about anything, plus my luck is high enough that even if I don't manage to take someone out with the initial sneak attack critical, I am more than likely going to get a normal critical anyway, and after that it's usually more than enough, at least for the time being. Case in point, watch how effortlessly I take out these jackals with my cowboy repeater and never get noticed. I was also going to talk to Thomas, but it seems some handsome devil placed some mines on the path between me and him. On my way through Nipton, I killed Oliver Swanwick. I knew that if I didn't say that I killed him, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. If you got that reference, awesome. If you didn't, go subscribe to my dry bread. His videos are literally what got me into doing my own challenges in the first place. I try using a Silence 22 pistol to take out the Legion in Nipton. I managed to take out one of their dogs, but it ends up barely tickling the actual soldiers. So much like the Rad Scorpions earlier, I just burn them with the incinerator until they stop moving. Up the road, and I decide to actually fight the Vipers, who usually end up blowing me to smithereens. It goes pretty well, as I'm getting a surprising amount of mileage out of the 9mm pistol. I am aware it's mostly due to my high luck stat, but I will take what I can get. Once you hit this point, there's a scripted fight between some Legion soldiers and some traders. From my experience, the traders usually come out on top with very little issue, but I wanted to be safe as I planned on trading with them, so I tried to help out. The key word there is tried, as in the middle of the chaos I ended up shooting the Brahmin, and as a result I found myself knee deep in trader blood. In my defense, I did try to holster my weapon as a sign of peace, but they weren't interested in that, so they left me no choice other than pure annihilation. Not being able to barter for ammo and stims is kind of a bummer. That said, it wasn't all bad, as I was able to nab myself some reinforced leather armor, so that's pretty great. Anything to protect these stumpy little limbs of mine. When the fighting stopped, I was the only one left standing, so I made my way for Novac with no resistance. Heading to Novac had been my plan for quite a while now, as I desperately wanted that gun. You know, that gun. I bought some ammo for my guns, as well as some extended mags for my 9mm pistol. As for that gun, yeah, I wasn't planning to buy it. Now, the door is only a very easy lock, so it would not have been difficult for me to have waited until Cliff left and then broke in. But that didn't sound as fun in my head, so I killed him and got in that way. I also stole every single rocket ship that I could reach. Maybe I'll sell these, maybe I won't. Who knows? Rather than leave Novac straight away, I figured that there was a few other items of worth that could prove rather useful. First off was Boone's first recon beret for its added crit chance. Sorry my old friend, but it's for the good of the run. Next up was Manny, as I wanted his hunting rifle along with the ammo he had for it. In retrospect, I could have let Boone live, as Manny also has a beret, but it's too late to look back now. And besides, if I left Boone alive, I wouldn't have got to see this. Finally, I made use of my new hunting rifle and killed Ranger Andy for his Ranger armor. I may not even need this in the end, but I wanted an NCR disguise in case I wanted to take the monorail to the strip. My reckless actions so far finally catch up with me though, as I get jumped by some Legion assassins. Usually I'd be a bit more worried about this, but a nice mix of fire and explosions is more than enough to send these idiots to the Shadow Realm. Despite the fact I had built up a good rep with the NCR by helping them in Primm, I decided to throw all of that progress away as I enter Boulder City. Kowalski goes out quicker than you can say war crimes, and Monroe's head has certainly seen better days. I use stealth once again to my advantage inside the city while the NCR are distracted by the cans. Better still, I'm able to get a lot more ammo for that gun this way, so if nothing else, this is Cap's save down the line. My intentions were to kill Jessup and his friends as well, but to make things a little more interesting, I decided to give them a head start before chasing them down. Now I have become Private Kowalski. As I leave Boulder City, I spot Victor hiding at the train station, no doubt waiting for me to pass by so he can jump out and surprise me. Well, too bad for him, I have an uncontrolled lust for death and destruction right now, so he gets reduced to scrap. Jessup and his friends aren't very good at the whole being hunted for sport thing, as they are slowly walking around the open, not even trying to make this interesting. With that said, I just start firing wildly and manage to kill Jessup. From there, I just use an assortment of weapons to take down the rest. One of them managed to run away, and seeing how I couldn't even catch a cold, I was going to just leave him be. But then the idiot decided that maybe he did stand a chance. He did not. If there's one silver lining here, it's that I marked the 188 trading post on the map. This will be handy later for getting into the Brotherhood bunker. Other than the fact that the long walk from here to the strip is now taking me about twice as long as usual, nothing of worth happened on the way. I did put down a whole family of bighorners in a PS1 looking environment, if that's interesting to anybody. No? Okay, moving on. I arrived at the Gunrunners and was just barely able to peer my head into the glass and ask the nice robot for some ammo. I mainly just got ammo for my hunting rifle and grenade rifle. There was a rather nice looking anti-material rifle that would surely come in handy, but as of right now, it is way above my pay grade. Here's hoping they might let a baby gamble in the casinos. I'm sure they will, it's Vegas after all. As easy as it would be to get the necessary 2,000 caps or get the pass from the king to let me into the strip, what would be even quicker is if I just used my hunting rifle with armor piercing rounds to just one-shot all of the Securitrons at the gate and then walk in now. This also caused me to end up saving the man who usually serves as a visual example of what you shouldn't do. This may have messed with his brain, however, as he just stood in place, more than likely waiting to be put out of his misery. Not wanting to watch him suffer, I complied with his request. I am on the strip. I have many guns. I am Nerbit. There are omertas nearby. You know what that means. I clearly must have dispensed more justice than usual, as I'm not entirely sure what I did to this man's head to make it do this. Thanks to hitting the omertas first, I now have a riot shotgun, which I'm able to put to pretty good use against the poor chairman who just happened to be waiting by the door. As for Benny himself, one shot with a hunting rifle from across the room was all it took to secure me the platinum chip. The rest of the stragglers I just take out with that gun before deciding to go 3 for 3 at the casinos. All in all, the gloves aren't too bad. They are able to inflict the most harm on me though. Pretty difficult to run away from melee attacks in my current situation. With the casinos taken care of, I decided it was off to the boomers. I wanted some more ammo and explosive weapons for when I encountered the Legion later. Plus, I'm thinking about siding with House this time, so I'll need to head to Cottonwood Cove soon anyway, and I haven't quite decided yet if I'm going to go in guns blazing or not. Before heading straight to Nellis though, I don one of my NCR disguises and visit the New Vegas Medical Clinic to get myself as many stim packs as I can. The plan was to use them to brute force my way through the bombardment because I didn't have very high hopes of avoiding it. However, to my delight, by taking things slow and actually hiding and waiting in cover until the bombs stopped, I was able to make it to the gates with only minimal amounts of ragdolling. As soon as they let me through the doors, I instantly killed Pearl and then the rest of the nearby boomers for a mix of experience, combat armor, and ammo. It went a lot smoother than I'd expected. None of them actually seemed to use their grenade launchers on me and instead all decided to use melee weapons. To be fair, considering how I normally play Fallout, I can respect that. The best way I can describe how this went is by showing you the men's quarters once I was done. Yeah, they never stood a chance against this bloodthirsty toddler. I then looted just about everything that wasn't nailed down, and then thanks in large part to my higher than average repair skill, I was able to pretty much fully repair all the weapons and armor, and then sell them to the gunrunners to get just enough caps to afford the anti-material rifle, as well as a ton of ammo for it. Okay, I think I'm ready to head to Cottonwood Cove. I come into contact with some geckos on the way. They are no more challenging than usual, but damn if they aren't at least a bit more terrifying given the size difference now. It was also around here where the incredibly edgy NCR Rangers approached me and tried to, I don't know, instill the fear of God in me. Well, they're all bark and no bite as I just stand there and I'm able to sneak attack the first 2 with my hunting rifle, blow up the 3rd by sticking lit dynamite down their pants, and then I take out the 4th with one easy shot from that gun. From this point, nothing happened until I got to the cove. When I did arrive, I decided that I was most definitely going to kill them all. I started by putting the anti-material rifle to good use by sitting on this cliff edge and systematically taking out every single Legion soldier who even thought about getting in my line of sight. Needless to say, not one of them was able to survive a single shot from this beautiful weapon. Once at the fort, as you can probably imagine, things begin to get a bit more challenging. They're able to get the best of me on my first attempt, but to be fair, I was also firing grenades at them at point blank range, so it's fair to chalk this death up to me just being stupid. I don't need to learn from my mistakes because on my next attempt I do pretty much the exact same thing and it goes 100 times better. And by that I mean I just about managed to survive. It's a good thing there's a lot of beds around here, probably gonna need to put the wee man down for a nap to heal these injuries. While loading into Caesar's tent, I just mashed the hell out of the right trigger and I'm almost certain I fired a grenade off before the game even loaded. For once, I didn't come in here with absolutely no plan. I at least knew that to take out Caesar, I would first, like I said, fire a few grenades into the tent and in his general direction that would hopefully either injure or kill him and some of his men. I then left the tent so they would follow me outside, and then because most NPCs are forced to follow a somewhat safe path and not run off the side of areas that they can't get back up from, I hopped down to just behind the arena so I can heal up and reload my grenade launcher. Then it's as simple as walking out to the right and just unloading my grenade launcher until they've all stopped moving. Now there were a few more Legion to take out, but honestly, they're nothing too difficult, and from there it was just down into the bunker to finally meet Mr. House and see about activating the Securitrons down here. The Protectrons and the turrets all get taken out in either 1 or 2 shots of my hunting rifle, so I'm in and out of here in a few minutes. Thing is, I do get pretty irradiated down here and don't have any RadAway, so I go back to Goodsprings to get that fixed up by Doc Mitchell, as well as buy some stim packs from him and Chet. I did also try the New Vegas clinic, but they have yet to restart their supplies by this point. Now, I'm off to Hidden Valley to destroy the Brotherhood. Figured I should do this now as I don't want to be making a bunch of back and forward trips to the strip as my max run speed is agonizingly slow and all those journeys do add up after a while. I also went and got the bunker marked on the map first before grabbing Veronica. I guess there's no rule against having a companion for this run, but I feel it would take away from some of the challenge, especially if she runs on ahead and takes out a bunch of enemies before I even get a chance to see them. As soon as she lets me inside, I dismiss her and get to work stealing the keycards. One bonus of my small stature is I'm incredibly difficult to see. I wasn't able to steal the keycard from the head scribe, so I shot him and the nearby apprentice and then retrieved the card that way. Not really a big issue as they're all about to be hostile anyway. After setting the base to blow, I thought I'd try shooting my way out. Mix things up a little. The scribes in their robes are all but worthless against even my weakest weapons. It's not until I get back to the main floor where I begin to have issues. Luckily I stocked up on those medical supplies when I did, because this was a nightmare. Usually you can just run past them and tank it, but we are far past the point of believing I can outpace anything. The saving grace here ended up being the explosive rounds I have for the anti-material rifle. Sure, it made things easier, but I was planning to save most of them for the Battle of Hoover Dam. I will admit, it is fun to see some of the Brotherhood ragdolling around as they get hit by these tiny little bullets. Once the Brotherhood was gone, I was off to finally enter the lucky 38 and get the ball rolling. But first I had to destroy all the Securitrons at the gate again. I lacked the caps to get in and wasn't familiar enough with House yet to just come and go as I pleased. Before meeting with House though, I made a quick stop in my presidential suite to really make sure the Brotherhood was wiped out. When watching the demonstration, I thought it was pretty funny that I couldn't actually see what was going on, so I'm really just having to take House at his word that the upgrades are real. Now I thought that since I dealt with all of the factions that House wants you to, that I'd skip straight to powering the substation. But, as it turns out, I completely forgot to take out Loyal when dealing with the Boomers. No matter though, it's as simple as heading straight back into the hangar and finding them there. Oh, and Jack too, who just happened to be caught in the blast radius. Now it was time to skip to the substation. Seeing how the O'Murders and Brotherhood are gone, and in the NCR's eyes, I'm probably more likely to assassinate Kimball than the Legion are. It's a shame really, it would have been fun to reduce the President to a pile of ash while under the guise of protecting him, but oh well, it can't be helped. At the very least, I was able to perch myself on this rock and explode a few soldiers at the substation with my rifle. Now it was time to end things. This might just be the most anticlimactic Battle of Hoover Dam I have ever had the pleasure of taking part in. As soon as I arrive, the NCR and my Securitron rush on and deal with most of the Legion soldiers before I can even get there. I'm able to pick off a few that survived, but there wasn't that many. Inside the dam, and it's pretty much the same, I think I only ever saw 2 Legion soldiers, and once again, they both got torn to shreds by my robot. Back outside, and things get a little more interesting as I actually get to join the fight. But let's not forget, I have an anti-material rifle. Yeah, some of the Centurions also have them, but I also have explosive rounds, so I win. At the Legates camp, but I'm as sneaky as I can be with my exploding bullets, as I pick off as many of the Praetorians as I can before moving into the center of the camp. I get attacked by 2 of them and probably could have died a quick death, but you don't have to be accurate with explosive rounds, so I just fire a bunch of them off like crazy. Sure, I really injure myself in the process, but I have about 12 stim packs left at this point, so I've got enough to get by for now. As for Lanius, I'm not getting close to him to talk. Instead, I drug up and then hit him square in the head with a critical explosive round. The way the game switched to the cinematic bullet camera angle and VATS, I honestly thought I somehow one-shot him, but that was not the case. As soon as this happened and he began to rush me with his guards, just like a moment ago, I just go wild firing off rounds until the Legate's health drops to 50 and he does his small retreat into the middle of the camp. I then take the time to finish off his guards before focusing on him. And yeah, there isn't a whole lot more to say here. A few more shots and Lanius goes down. I do put his helmet on and look like a cheap knockoff toy version of him before heading to the gate and doing pretty much the same thing to the NCR. With that, I talk to Mr. House, finishing the game, loading the broken slideshow, and proving yes, you can indeed beat Fallout New Vegas as a baby. This was certainly interesting. I don't think it was as tough as the time I played Fallout 3 as a baby, but to be fair, in that video I didn't have an incredibly overpowered sniper rifle, so there is that. Much like that time though, the most annoying thing is the running speed. It just causes the simplest tasks to drag on. It sorta reminds me of playing Morrowind with low speed while in a full suit of heavy armor, if that comparison helps anyone. Regardless, that's going to the end of this challenge video. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider giving the video a like, and if you're interested in more challenges in the future, feel free to subscribe to try to have one of these videos out every week. My name's Nerbit, stay safe everyone, I'll see you all in the next video.